In this retreat, you are practicing. The practice you are doing is foundations of mindfulness, Satipatthana, setting up of mindfulness or firmly established mindfulness. So you do mindfulness when you set up the foundations of mindfulness. It is also called vipassana. Vipassana may be narrower in range than Satipatthana. Sometimes we use Satipatthana and vipassana synonymously. Who needs this practice? Vipassana is to purify the disease of mental defilements. It is used to purify our minds of mental defilements. Since we all people have mental defilements, all people need to practice vipassana. But if we have overcome mental defilements, or if we have eradicated kilesa, and our minds have become totally pure, do we need to practice mindfulness? More specifically, after we have become arahants, do we need to practice mindfulness? An arahant is described as one who has done what is to be done regarding the eradications of mental defilements. But the Buddha said, arahants also practice mindfulness. Even after you become arahants, you could stay practice mindfulness. You should stay practice mindfulness. In one discourse, Buddha taught his disciple to encourage those people who have come to the dispensation lately or newly. Buddha said, the newcomers should be encouraged to practice the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Buddha said, those who are new monks, new meditators, not long gone forth, who have come but recently to this teaching and discipline, Dhamma Vinaya, they should be encouraged, they should be introduced, and they should be established in the cultivation of the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So newcomers and new monks should be encouraged to practice of the 4 foundations of mindfulness. We should say to them like this, practice kaya nupassana, body contemplation in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending single-minded, with a serene heart and a collected and concentrated mind for knowing the body as it truly is. Practice feeling contemplation in the feeling, ardent, clearly comprehending, single-minded, with a serene heart and a collected and concentrated mind for knowing the feeling as it truly is. For mind or consciousness contemplation, for knowing the mind or consciousness as it truly is, for the Dhamma objects, practice Dhamma contemplation in the Dhammas, ardent, clearly comprehending, single-minded, with a serene heart and a collected and concentrated mind for knowing the Dhamma as they really are. We should say them in this way. Kaya Nupassana, Vedana Nupassana, Citta Nupassana, and Dhamma Nupassana. Here Buddha said that we should encourage new monks or new meditators to practice the four foundations of mindfulness and ask them to be ardent, clearly comprehending. We must encourage them to make sustained and intense effort, encourage them to gain inside knowledge into the true nature of mind and matter, encourage them to gain momentary concentration, Khanika Samadhi. In some cases, we may encourage them to practice mindfulness as samatha meditation and to get neighborhood concentration and jhana concentration. We may encourage them in this way. The purpose here is for knowing the body as it truly is. The practice of mindfulness is to understand the body, the feelings, the mind, and the Dhamma objects as they truly are. When you practice mindfulness meditation, first you get what is called momentary concentration, Khanika Samadhi. And your mind is on the objects only and is not distracted. After getting the momentary concentration, you begin to see the mind and matter clearly, and then their conditionality, and their arising and disappearing, and so on. When you see the rising and disappearing of the objects, you come to see that the mind and matter are impermanent and unsatisfactory and insubstantial, or they are out of their control. Seeing the object as impermanent, unsatisfactory, and insubstantial, it is said to be knowing as it truly is. The newcomers, the new meditators, should be encouraged to practice the four foundations of mindfulness in order to understand the four objects as they truly are, or to understand that these objects are impermanent, unsatisfactory, and insubstantial. Then Buddha said, also those monks, those meditators who are in the highest training but have not yet attained the goals and strive after the highest peace, they too dwelt ardent and clearly comprehending, single-minded, with a serene heart and a concentrated and collected mind, practicing contemplation on the body for the full understanding of the body, for the full understanding of feeling, for the full understanding of consciousness, and for the full understanding of the Dhamma objects. And meditators who has reached the lowest three stages of enlightenment is called a trainee, since he or she has not yet finished the training. Only when he or she becomes an arahant is he or she said to have finished his or her training. So those meditators, the enlightened person, not the Putujana, not the worldlings, are called trainees or sikha in Pali. Even after they had attained the first stage, second stage, or the third stage of enlightenment, the monks or meditators continue to practice mindfulness meditation. They make effort and they try to get inside knowledge into the true nature of mind and matter again. But this time, the purpose is for the full understanding, parinya. Full understanding must be understood fully. Pali words is parinya. In the Dhammacakka Sutta, Buddha said, Itang kopana bhikkhve dukkha ariyan siccan parinyatan. Full understanding has three levels. The first level is the understanding of individual characteristic of the objects. Second level is the understanding of the common characteristics or general characteristic of the objects. The third level is abandonment of wrong notion. After fully understanding the common characteristics or general characteristics of objects or of all conditioned phenomena, whatever you find the word full understanding used in the discourses, you must understand it to mean the three levels of understanding. The first level is full understanding of individual characteristics. When you observe something, you will not fail to see it clearly. You will not fail to see its features. It is natural. So when you practice meditation, you try to be mindful of the object, and if you get momentary concentration, then you begin to see it clearly. When you see the objects clearly, you also see what it is, what characteristics or what mark it has. For example, you are watching your mind. When you are watching your mind, your mind go to the objects, go to this object or go to that object. Actually, the mind does not go anywhere, but it seems to go to the objects. When the object change, the state of mind change. It seems to be bent towards the object. That bending to the objects or going to the object or simply taking the object is characteristic of the mind. When you observe your mind closely, you see that your mind is something that bends towards the object, that goes towards the object, that takes the object. If you understand that, you are understanding its individual characteristic, a characteristic peculiar to it and not shared with any other object. It is first level of the full understanding or correct understanding of the object. If you watch your pain, you will come to see that pain is the experience of undesirable sensation or touch. Pain is the experience of undesirable tangible data. So the characteristics of pain is just the experience of undesirable tangible data. If you watch the rising and falling of the abdomen, you watch the air elements, you see that the air elements have the characteristics of distending or expanding or support. These are called individual characteristics. They are the marks of the individual objects. After you see the individual characteristics, you see that they arise dependent upon some condition. There is nothing which arises not depending on any condition. When you see something, you may understand that because there is something to be seen, there is seeing. If there is nothing to be seen, there is no seeing. When you stretch your hand, because there is the intention to stretch, there is stretching. If the intention is not there, there will be no stretching. So stretching is conditioned by your desire to stretch. Stretching does not come by itself, or stretching does not come. Stretching is not created by any deities, but it is conditioned by your mind. So you see that everything that arises has something or things at its condition. So you see the conditionality of things that belong to the first stage or first level of full understanding. That is Nyata Parinya. After seeing the conditionality of mind and matter, you begin to see that the mind and matter arise and disappear. Whatever objects you keep your mind on, you see that it arises and disappears immediately. Actually, no objects exist for even 2 consecutive moments. The moment it arises and at its end, it disappears. And then in this place, there is another object. In this way, the old object disappears and the new object takes its place. When you watch the object of this present moment, you will also see that that object appears and then disappears. When you are watching your thoughts, you know that some thoughts appear and then disappear immediately. Now the sound of the Dhamma talk, it just struck your eardrum and then disappear. If you pay close attention, you will not fail to see that things things just arise and disappear. When you see that the things arise and disappear, You see that they are impermanent because something that disappears is impermanent. If it is to be permanent, it must last forever, but there is nothing that lasts forever. Actually, everything in our world is impermanent. And this impermanence is common to all objects you observe, whether it is mind or matter, whether it is your thoughts or your sensation, or rising and falling of the abdomen, or stretching, bending, etc. All these phenomena share this characteristic. That is, they come and go, and they are impermanent. When you see the impermanence of things, you also see the suffering nature. That means being constantly oppressed by arising and disappearing. So objects always come and go, come and go. You see this when you observe objects continuously. Whatever object you keep your mind on, you see that that object is oppressed by arising and disappearing. That means it arises and disappears. When you see the impermanence of things, you also see the unsatisfactory nature or dukkha nature of things. Dukkha nature means being constantly oppressed by arising and disappearing. When you see the impermanent nature and dukkha nature of things, you also see the anatta nature of things. Anatta nature means that you have no control over them. They come and go by their own free will, and so you have no control. They are just pure phenomena rolling on and on and on and on. Also, they are unsubstantial. There is no substance in them. There is no permanent entity in them. So just by paying close attention, by observing, you come to see these three characteristics. They are called three common characteristics of all conditioned phenomena. Anything that is conditioned has these three characteristics. It is nature, it is dukkha, it is anatta. It is impermanent. It is constantly oppressed by arising and disappearing. It is unsubstantial. Understanding these three characteristics is the second stage in the full understanding. After understanding the three characteristics, The next stage is abandoning the wrong notion about mind and matter. Before you see these three characteristics, before you see the mind and matter clearly, you think that mind and matter are permanent. The notion that mind and matter are permanent is a wrong notion. The notion that mind and matter are satisfactory is a wrong notion. The notion that everything is under his control is a wrong notion. When you see the three characteristics, when you reach the second level of full understanding, he or she is able to abandon these notions. You no longer see things as permanent. You no longer see things as beautiful. You no longer see things as satisfactory and as substantial. So you are able to discard these wrong notions by seeing the three characteristics of all conditioned phenomena. This is the third level or highest level of characteristic of all conditioned phenomena. This is the third level of full understanding. So you must understand these three kinds of full understanding whenever you come across the term full understanding in the discourses. For the trainees, Sikha, or for those who have attained the first stage, second stage, and third stage of enlightenment, the practice of the four foundations of mindfulness is for the full understanding of the objects. Then, what about the Arahants? Also, those monks, those meditators who are holy ones, staying free, who have lived the holy life to the end, who have accomplished their tasks, lay down the burden, attain to the goal, destroying the facts of existence and liberated in perfect wisdom, they too dwell ardent and clearly comprehending, single-minded, with serene heart and a concentrated and collected mind, practicing Kaya Nupassana, body contemplation on the body, being unfettered by the body. Here, Buddha did not give us any purpose. He just said the Arahant practice foundations of mindfulness, being unfettered by the body, by feeling, by consciousness, and by Dhamma objects. An Arahant is a person who has eradicated all mental defilements, all kilesa. Arahant has no attachment, no hate, no mental defilements. So he or she practice body contemplation and so on without being fettered by the body. That means unattached to the body, to feeling, to consciousness, and to dhammas. Even an arahant is described here as practicing mindfulness. So mindfulness meditation is for all people, not just those who have mental defilements. What is the purpose of arahants practicing mindfulness? In another discourse, Venerable Sariputra said, Arahant practice foundations of mindfulness for the sake of Ditta Dhamma Sukha Vihara and Satata Vihari. That means Arahant practice foundations of mindfulness for the sake of enjoying bliss of emancipation in this very life, and Arahant practice foundations of mindfulness for the sake of being mindful all the time. Ditta Dhamma Sukha Vihara and Satata Vihari. So need to remember why Arahant practice mindfulness. Can you follow me? Arahant practice foundations of mindfulness for the sake of enjoying bliss of emancipation in this very life. Arahant practice foundations of mindfulness for the sake of enjoying bliss of emancipation in this very life. Arahant practice foundations of mindfulness for the sake of being mindful all the time. That means to maintain sati sampajanya, Arahant practice. Ditta Dhamma Sukha Vihara and Satata Vihari. Although Arahant have no mental defilements, they still experience bodily pain, sickness, and others because they have body. But with the practice of mindfulness, they can endure pain. They can make pain bearable, or they can make pain not disturb their minds. Even they have physical pain, they have no mental pain. So it is a kind of release even from bodily pain when they practice mindfulness meditation. At one time, Lord Buddha was severely ill. He practiced vipassana. With the practice of vipassana, Buddha was able to get rid of that illness. When you get to the higher stage of vipassana, you may expect to get rid of some illness of the body. Also, it is said that Arahant, who always practice mindfulness, is able to get into samadhi quickly. So those who do not constantly practice mindfulness, after they become arahants, are not able to get into samadhi easily when disturbed by some work or some concern. Some arahants are very busy. So even the arahants practice mindfulness meditation to experience the bliss of emancipation even in this life. And also to be mindful and clearly comprehending always, so that they can get into the Palasamapati with ease. So even Arahant practice mindfulness meditation to experience the bliss of emancipation, and also to be mindful of clear comprehending, always, so that they can get into the Palasamapati with ease. So mindfulness practice and serious practice of mindfulness is for all people. And Buddha again said at the end that those who have come to the dispensation newly, or those who are newcomers, should be encouraged to establish themselves in the four foundations of mindfulness. That means to encourage them to practice the four foundations of mindfulness. So do not think that you practice four foundations of mindfulness only before you get rid of mental defilements. Even if you are able to get rid of mental defilements, don't think for retired. You still need to practice mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness meditation is for all times. Mindfulness meditation is for all people, both for those who have not yet attained any enlightenment, and it is for those who have reached the highest stage of enlightenment, or for those who have eradicated all mental defilements. So mindfulness meditation is for all times, for all people. So need to remember, follow me. Mindfulness meditation is for all time. Mindfulness meditation is for all people. So it's all for people, both for those who not yet attain enlightenment, and for those who have reached the highest stage of enlightenment. So what we want to emphasize in the term of full understanding is, whenever you see the term full understanding, you need to understand in this way. understanding really means seeing their individual characteristics and seeing their common characteristics and abandoning wrong notion through the understanding of the common characteristics. The first level of that understanding is called Nyata Paranya, full understanding as what is known. And the second level is Tirana Paranya, the full understanding of investigation. But investigation means not just investigation, but investigating and understanding. And the third level of full understanding is the full understanding of abandonment, Bhana Parinya. So there is full understanding as what is known, full understanding as investigation, full understanding as abandonment. If meditator reach the Namarupa Paricita Jnana and Vijaya Parika Jnana, that means when they distinguish mind and matter and conditionality, they understand as what is known. And when they comprehend the mind and matter clearly, and when they see the arising and disappearing of the phenomena, Samasana Jnana and Uddiyabhya Jnana, they reach the level of Tirana Paranya, and then Binga Jnana, etc. They start to abandon mental defilements. They have full understanding as abandonment. So three pranya, nyata pranya, tirana pranya, and bhana pranya. Need to remember, follow me. Nyata pranya, tirana pranya, bhana pranya. Nyata pranya, full understanding as what is known, full understanding as what is known, tirana pranya, full understanding as investigation, tirana pranya, full understanding as investigation, bhana pranya, full understanding as abandonment. So three pranya. Full understanding does not mean just understanding, but also abandonment of wrong notion. Through your full understanding of the common characteristic of all conditioned phenomena. When the meditator reach the Arata Megaphala, they understand as what is known, they understand as investigation, they understand as abandonment. The Buddha mentioned in the Dhammacakka Sutta, Idang Kopana Bhikkhave Dukkha Ariya Sijam Parinyatan. Parinyatan. That is full understanding as what is known, full understanding as investigation, full understanding as abandonment. When the meditator reached the stage of Rata Megaphala, so we have to stop our discourse for today by practicing vipassana meditation, by observing every phenomena occurring at the six senses. May you have full understanding as what is known. May you have full understanding as investigation. May you have full understanding as abandonment. May you realize the real peace in the very near future.